I never imagined that a simple weekend project in my garage would spark a full-on neighborhood meltdown. One petty complaint from the HOA president, Karen, accused my toolbox and welder of running an illegal commercial operation. 2 days later, fire marshals were at my doorstep. But the real shocker wasn't at my house. It was what they uncovered in Karen's own lock shed that left her pale in front of the entire block. It all started harmlessly enough. I tinker for fun, not for profit. My double garage is my sanctuary. Neon signs, a lift I built myself, every tool imaginable organized meticulously on pegboards. I fix my own cars, friends' cars, occasionally a neighbor's lawn mower for a six-pack of beer. No signage, no customers, no money exchange. Just a man who loves the smell of motor oil on Saturday mornings. Everyone knew it. Everyone except Karen. She moved in 6 months ago from some gated community in Florida, armed with a clipboard and a permanent scowl. Week 1, letters about my mailbox leaning 2 degrees. Week 2, complaints that my trash cans were visible for an extra 4 minutes. By month 3, she was timing my garage door with what looked like a stopwatch. I laughed it off until the certified letter arrived. Cease and desist all commercial activity immediately. Unlicensed automotive repair shop violating HOA bylaws section 12.4. Commercial? I hadn't made a single dollar. I showed it to my buddy Mike, helping me swap brakes on my Mustang. We laughed until the fire marshal's truck rolled up 2 days later, lights flashing like we were the scene of a chemical spill. 3 inspectors leapt out, full gear like hazmat heroes. The lead, a no-nonsense woman named Captain Ruiz, handed me the complaint form. At the top, reported by Karen Whitmore, HOA president, alleged illegal business, flammable materials, public safety hazard. My stomach sank. They requested to inspect the garage. I had nothing to hide, so I opened the door. They walked through, checked my fire extinguishers, made sure my welding tanks were secure. 10 minutes later, Captain Ruiz closed her clipboard and said, "Sir, your setup is cleaner than most professional shops I inspect. You're fine." Relief washed over me. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. As the crew started to leave, Karen power walked across the street in her neon visor, waving another stack of papers like a victory flag. "While you're here, check his propane tanks. They're over the residential limit," she chirped. She was so focused on my garage, she didn't notice Captain Ruiz's sharp glance at the shed behind her house. A brand new, windowless 12 by 20 shed, heavy padlock, 2 industrial vents poking out the roof. Captain Ruiz asked casually, "Ma'am, what's stored in there?" Karen froze. "Oh, nothing. Just holiday decorations and patio furniture." The inspector tilted her head. "Those vents look like chemical exhaust. Mind if we take a look?" Karen's voice jumped an octave. "Absolutely not. That's private property." Then the second marshal noticed the warning placards tucked behind her recycling bins. Not Christmas labels, red diamonds, bold numbers. Flammability 4, health hazard 2, specific hazard oxidizer. Anything that makes fire departments very interested. Captain Ruiz's tone changed. "Ma'am, step aside. We have reasonable suspicion." Karen tried to block the door, screaming about warrants and privacy, but the padlock was cheap, 30 seconds with bolt cutters, and the doors swung open. The chemical stench hit immediately. Inside, industrial shelves lined with 5-gallon drums, each with skull and crossbones labels, toluene, acetone, nitric acid. Pools of spilled liquid on the concrete. No ventilation, no spill containment. In the center, a homemade glassware setup straight out of a DA evidence locker. Karen went silent. The street had gathered, phones out, kids on bikes. Mr. Chin dropped his grocery bags in disbelief. Captain Ruiz turned to her partner. "Call hazmat. This is an unregistered clandestine facility." I stood there, welder in hand, watching the woman who tried to ruin my hobby get red-tagged in real time. The same fire department she weaponized against me was now sealing her property with yellow tape while she screamed about her Etsy business. Then it got worse. Hazmat rolled in like a scene from Breaking Bad. 3 trucks, full suits, the street barricaded. Karen tried to bolt, but a deputy blocked the door. Ma'am, you're not going anywhere until we inventory every drum. Her face cycled through every shade of red imaginable. Neighbors live streamed. Captain Ruiz pulled me aside. Did you know about this? I shook my head, still processing that the woman who labeled my socket set a public menace had what looked like a mini Walter White Lab 10 feet from my kid's swing set. She'd even written in her complaint form, also check neighbor's shed for similar violations. I almost laughed. Then the lead hazmat tech emerged, clipboard in hand, yelling, "Scheduled precursors, Class 1 oxidizers. Enough pseudoephedrine to keep half the state awake for a year." Karen screamed, "That's my allergy crafts." The deputy wasn't buying it. He read her Miranda rights while she kicked and wailed, claiming HOA immunity. Immunity from making meth. In a quiet suburban neighborhood. "Okay, Queen." Hazmat crews started rolling barrels out on dollies, each emblazoned with hazard diamonds, so bright they practically burned your eyes. One of the techs slipped on spilled acetone near the entrance, hitting the ground hard. Karen tried to use a distraction to slip under the yellow tape. A female deputy tackled her like an NFL linebacker. The block erupted. Gasps, cheers, even slow clapping from someone on a stoop. My phone blew up with notifications. The group chat renamed itself Karen's Cookhouse. Then the FBI arrived. Not local cops, not the sheriff. Actual dark windbreaker FBI with bold yellow letters. Turns out one chemical in her shed was on a federal watch list, used in explosives. Karen went from yelling about HOA bylaws to sobbing, insisting she was just trying to pay HOA fees. Etsy wasn't profitable enough, apparently, so she moved on to something far more lucrative and illegal. They found a ledger in her kitchen. Names, dollar amounts, delivery dates. Half were just initials. But one jumped out. KW, monthly retainer, enforced rules aggressively. Guess who KW was? Our HOA president was collecting kickbacks to weaponize the neighborhood against anyone who didn't pay her protection fee. My $400 welder had apparently made me a target because I never paid her beautification assessment. By sundown, her shed was empty and red-tagged. Her Mercedes was towed for blocking the hazmat trucks, and she was in the back of a federal van. Perp walking in handcuffs and that neon tennis visor. A deputy handed me my original complaint form with a grin. "You're free to weld, sir. In fact, we might need you to cut that shed open wider tomorrow." I looked at the crowd still gathered, the news vans rolling in, Karen's house now wrapped in more caution tape than a movie set, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. My garage was officially the safest, most legal building on the block. The best part? The FBI asked if anyone had security footage of her harassing neighbors. Half the street raised their hands. This wasn't over. Not even close. Tomorrow, the real storm would hit, and it had Karen's name written all over it. The next morning, the street looked like a movie scene. News helicopters buzzed overhead. Reporters camped on lawns. The FBI set up a tent in Karen's driveway, like it was a holiday display. I sipped coffee on my porch, still in yesterday's grease-stained shirt, when the lead agent walked straight to me with a tablet. "Mr. Ramirez, you'll want to see this." They cracked her encrypted laptop overnight. The folder labeled HOA Budget 2024 wasn't a budget at all. It was a blackmail database. Hundreds of files. Photos of unpermitted patios. Teenagers smoking behind garages. Even one neighbor's OnlyFans side hustle. Karen had been running a protection racket for 2 years. Pay her $500 to $2,000, or she'd report you to the city, HOA, your boss, whoever. My file was thick. Nighttime shots of my garage. Zoomed-in license plates of friends visiting. Even audio from a drone she'd flown over my fence. The last entry, 3 days ago. Subject refuses compliance. Escalate to fire marshal. If that fails, plant evidence in shed. She was planning to frame me with her own chemicals. Then the U.S. attorney arrived, cameras rolling, holding a live press conference right in our cul-de-sac. Charges announced. Manufacturing a controlled substance, possession precursors with intent to distribute, conspiracy, wire fraud, extortion, and my favorite, filing false emergency reports. Bond set at $2 million. Karen, now in an orange jumpsuit 2 sizes too big, was led away sobbing, while neighbors booed like it was WWE. The twist? The agent handed me an envelope, a cashier's check for $47,300. Every fine and HOA fee Karen had collected over 2 years, seized under forfeiture laws, returned to the victims. My share was the largest. She targeted me the hardest. Turns out terrorizing people over a welder is a federal crime. Enjoy your refund, the agent said. The HOA dissolved that afternoon. Emergency vote, 48-0. We burned the bylaws in my fire pit while someone blasted Sweet Caroline far too loud. The news ate it up. America's soccer mom meth queen busted after targeting innocent mechanic. My garage even got its own segment. America's cleanest home shop. I got free tool sponsorships out of it. Last I heard, Karen pled guilty, sentenced to 15 years. Her public defender tried the essential oils damage your brain defense. The judge wasn't having it. Now, my garage door stays open as long as I want. Kids ride by waving. Neighbors drop off beers instead of complaints. Every time I fire up the welder, I look at the empty shed next door, now city property, and smile. Turns out the real hazardous material on our street never was my propane tanks. It was a woman who thought rules applied to everyone but her. Karma doesn't send certified letters. It sends the FBI. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Every subscription motivates me to bring you more wild HOA stories. And tap the bell so you never miss a new upload. I'll see you in the next story, where justice gets even sweeter.